Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm. This guy is Chris.
And I'm Bree.
And this week it's Atomic Facepalm Weekly episode 12.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, 12.
Thank you, folks, for coming to say hi and watch our humble video. If you like what you see, you can always subscribe and leave a comment below for your thoughts. We love to hear from you. And you can hit us up on Twitter also. We are known to lurk there. So, this week, we're going to start off with playing with fire.
Are you asking what games I played this week?
Yes, I am, Bree.
Let's see. What did I play this week? Oh, we played Overwatch this week. Both of us. Everyone played Overwatch, right?
We did. So we have a household full of Overwatch players. 5 of us, as it turns out.
But we've been kind of off Overwatch for like 5 months, 4 months.
Yeah, and I feel like part of that was we had the worst internet. Our internet still isn't crappy, but it's
That was fine, yeah. So I was pretty rusty, but that was fun, and
Yeah.
I want to continue actually playing.
So
keeping on the regular. Like, I don't want to play Overwatch every single day, but I definitely would like to once a week play it.
like we're thinking Overwatch Wednesdays. It's alliterative. I feel like it's in the middle of the week. It's a good way to get over that hump.
With a little Overwatch.
Watching Wednesday Overwatch, Wednesday.
Wednesday watching.
Right, over. So we actually, when it first came out, I feel like we binged on it pretty hard. Like we went up to high levels. Both of us tried competitive for a while, which was a disaster.
I think our binging and hardcore is definitely on the casual side compared to some people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For sure. But we played a lot of it, and we both loved the game. All of us loved the game. The problem is, even though there are 5 of us who like to play it, there's only 4 PCs that we can really play it on. But a 4 stack is still pretty decent.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a blast. It was weird getting back into that game after.
No, I was so rusty.
Well, they changed a lot too, from our standpoint. So.
Yeah, I got lost on a couple maps. Like I went backwards.
Yeah. They're like, Reaper, what are you doing back there? I don't know. I'm on the map.
Oh, I forgot.
Maybe I should have explored before going to live play, but more fun that way.
Yeah, no, it was good. So I played Overwatch. I played Little Nightmares a little bit. I'm not quite finished with that. I really was hoping to kind of finish it up today, but I didn't.
And we'll be reviewing that at some point
Next
soon.
week, yeah, middle next week. Good. I like it. I'll save a lot of my comments for the review, I guess.
Did it give you any little nightmares?
No, it didn't, but that is, like, seriously the creepiest world. Like,
It's scary.
I don't know what it is, but it's maybe a little on the edge of too much for me. It's just gross.
Yeah, and we'll probably get into this in the review, but it's, like we were talking about, it's more unsettling than just jump-up scares. It's not cheap scares.
No, it's not
disturbing.
cheap scares. It's just, like, such a strange little world that's gross. I played Spaceplan on my phone quite a bit this week, so that was published by Devolver Digital, and one guy made it. It's just a little like clicker game on your phone, but the story's really fun, kind of cute. It's all potato science.
Potato!
You're kind of like on this spaceship, and they try to load up the systems. No one knows what's going on. The spaceship wakes up. They try to load up their thing maker machine with awesome advanced robotics, and it fails. And they try another thing, and it fails. And they're like, potato database. Okay, well, we got potatoes. So then like all your weapons are potato based, and you kind of build up your spaceship. And
That's pretty funny. I didn't know that was a Devolver Digital game, by the way.
it published by Devolver Digital.
Still pretty cool.
No,
this guy's like published.
Anything cool, they were like touching it.
They're like talent whores or something. Like they really, they have good indie games. They have good AAA games. Like Devolver Digital is, in my opinion, like a really good publisher.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of clicker games and you want one that's actually paid for and not gonna like try to give you all those stupid, buy more microtransactions, this is a good one. I think it's $3 on iOS or Android, and it's also on Steam or PC or whatever.
Oh, you can get it there too.
Yeah. So instead of being it's through on the PC, it just shows you all the screens instead of swiping through them like you do on your phone. There's like 3 different screens, so it's just all of them there. There's actually, I'll link a review from PC Gamer too below.
I didn't even know they reviewed it. Good for you guys. Cool. But can you play it on a Game Boy?
No, I can't. But it's one of those games that's fun to use like while at work because you can kind of like take 5 minutes and do your little thing, or at lunch you like kind of get your things going and then leave it.
Well, just when the boss isn't looking, that's what I would do.
Yeah. So that was good. And I played Prey yesterday for several hours.
Duh. Yeah.
So I'm liking it. I'm not loving it.
I would like to jump into Prey. I kind of have been sort of riding along your coat heels here to see what your first reactions were. I'm like, if Bree likes it, I'm going to jump into it. If not, I'm going to avoid it.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's decent. It's like kind of a little scary because, like, well, for me, I'm a chicken shit.
Well, this is more jump scares, right? In this
It's
game.
more jump scares. So there's those mimics that mimic as anything. So you go to get like something and pick it up, and it's like a mimic, and then attacks you. And also, the music is actually very like it'll start creaking and groaning and making these sounds, and I like get all freaked out. I'm like, wait, is that the sound that means that there's a mimic near? Because it's got like this kind of escalates the music whenever you're near one of those guys, but sometimes it kind of tricks you too.
Interesting.
So the music kind of creeps me out too.
Then it sounds like you're saying they could mimic even like health packs and stuff that could potentially
anything. Yeah, anything. So
very cool. I like that idea of it.
Yeah, so you'll see him for a second, he'll be like, and then they'll disappear, and you're like, wait, did he just go into that bin over there? Is he that? Is he this? And then sometimes, like one time I turned around, and there was a trash can where there wasn't a trash can before, and I was like, oh, you motherfucker. And I killed him before he, scared me. So it's kind of cool. As long as you're paying attention, you can kind of sometimes see them. Sometimes they're very much in, set places, and if you go past this tile, then the whole thing activates, and so kind of learn a room that way.
From my watching over a brief shoulder, it reminded me of BioShock, but again, I haven't played it. That was my first, it looks like a updated version of a BioShock type of thing.
Yeah. BioShock felt like, even though it's this weird world or whatever, it felt like a world. This doesn't, it feels like a game. Like, they made, this is a set for a game kind of thing. So I think there's something about it that's not quite clicking to be like, great game, good game.
It is
Maybe
game.
It is a game.
Yeah.
With lots of production behind it, but not my favorite game so far this year. It's not like grabbing the way that I was kind of hoping it would.
And you're playing it on PC, right?
PC, normal difficulty, because I'm not so great, but
That's pretty cool. Again, I will probably jump in at some point and play it soon, just because it's also one of those games where I feel like everybody on my Twitter feed is like playing the head out of it, and you see all these new. It's like, okay, gotta just try it out and see what the
From what I'm seeing, I'm similar reactions from people where they like it, but there's enough little complaints that they're not loving it. It's not like the other games that have come out this year, like Resident Evil 7. I feel like people are just creaming their jeans about that game.
Included.
Yeah, you included. There's just been a lot of games this year where people are freaking out. Horizon Zero Dawn, whatever. But.
And there in the middle is Prey. Me too, guys. I'm a game.
Yeah.
I do game things.
At least it's not getting like what Mass Effect kind of got.
Yeah. No, like you're saying, it looks like a serviceable game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. It's fine.
So that is it for me. What have you been playing?
Oh, boy. Okay, so let me start with the not so good and work my way up. Get it out of the way. I've been playing, I guess technically I've played a little bit of it, Warhammer 40,000, Dawn of War 3.
I didn't play it because it's crap.
Okay, so we're going to do, I don't know, I guess we can't call it a played in full because I'm just fucking done with that game. I'm sorry. We'll do, I guess, an impressions video, however you want to word it. It'll be a review, but I will tell everybody up front I didn't play the whole fucking thing. 1, because I suck at it. 2, it's just not a very good game. Spoilers there, but I mean, it saddens me. It saddens me dearly because, again, I have a lot of connections to Warhammer 40,000. You can probably see in the background somewhere over there. No, you can't. Well, anyway. I have models. I'm painting. I love the universe. Dawn of War 2 is great. Huge misstep, in my opinion. I'm not sure what they were doing with this. I get what they're trying to do to a certain degree. Let's get the RTS crowd. Let's get the MOBA crowd and the micromanagement crowd. We're going to smash them all together in Blender. It's going to be great. Nope. You lost kind of what made those other games good, which is a focus.
Yeah, it's really kind of all over the place. You're building a base. You're running your heroes.
Yeah. And the story isn't really great either, which is disappointing. And you're not even really clear what's going on in the beginning.
No, but it is a lot of fanciness around those cutscenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that part they've consistently done well. So, regardless of the gameplay, the developers Relic gets the universe. My critique is solely on the gameplay, and it's a game, so it's like most of it for this game anyway. But no, the voices, the cutscenes, they get everything else. Just man, it's just a very bland RTS game. Mm-hmm. And you throw into the mix a lack of saves as far as no auto saves, and you got technical issues, and just kind of done with it.
Big hot mess.
Sorry, guys.
There's too many other good games this year that I was just like, I don't give a shit.
I was really like, I'm going to power through it. And I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not going to power through it. Screw it. I'm not going to play a bad game. I'm not getting paid here, So like you were saying, it's like, we're not getting paid. We actually have the freedom to be like, no, we're not going to play that. So, yeah, take that. crappy game. We talked about Overwatch, which we were playing, and I may have lapsed back into Darkest Dungeon. It's so good.
It is a really good game.
I had a nice long hiatus out of necessity because that was a game, and it is a game which I've become obsessed with. It's all I've played this weekend, basically. I can't stop. I got my brother into playing it. They updated it. It's so good. So we actually reviewed that a long time ago, I feel like, when our channel was but a wee lad. And so I would suggest going to check out that review because I feel like, again, I just love... The developers, too, are really friendly and nice.
Yeah. Those people are great on Twitter, actually.
Yeah.
And they've been updating, like, it was a year after it released that they gave that, like, one big update where they fixed, like, any of the issues that we had in our review.
Yeah,
are actually
run it.
all fixed at this point. So, like, really should just be, a review should just be praise about what a fun and kind of addicting game that is.
Yeah.
That's actually why. So I hear the sounds that go with Darkest Dungeon, like all the voice acting in that game is...
It's like the best voice acting ever.
Yeah, Wayne June, who I follow on Twitter as well.
Is that who it is? Okay, because my brother was like, is that like John Goodman doing the voiceover? It's like that quality.
No, he's awesome. And then it's just hearing that made me want to play it. I'm like, no, I'm going to play Prey, I'm going to play new games.
You should play it.
So is that game available like on the Switch or...
It was going to be. I don't know if it is now. But,
okay.
So remember, we went on vacation, and I played it on this really crappy, terrible laptop I have that is like a work knockoff one. And it worked great. And that was like a terrible, like $800 laptop. So it works really well. And just, so I think, oh my God, I want it to be on like the Switch.
Or an iPad. Or I feel like I have this...
The iPad would be perfect.
I know. So I have this like space in my life for a mobile game that I'm continually working, and that would be one of them. It's just like light enough that you can pick up for a little bit, but addicting enough that I want to keep coming back to it, even if I haven't played it all week. Like I don't have that special game in my life. So
it's an addiction though, and man, I got right back into it and party wiped all my level 5s. As it turns out, when you come back into the game, maybe pace yourself.
And you do a couple gear runs or farming runs, whatever.
I was like, I'm just going to show my brother this awesome boss. And oh my God, that was devastating. Whew. But man.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So, but no, in the best ways possible. I could just talk for hours on it. Because every little bit of it's perfect. Like the way the animations are subtle but powerful. The music. Anyway, I'm just going to talk forever, so I'll stop. But Darkest Dungeon, go play it. So, yes, games. We actually played a lot of games, I feel like. This is another one of those like game-heavy weeks.
Yeah.
Transitioning from what we've played to games we've played a lot of in the past. Probably thousands of hours. What games are we talking about? Oh, I don't know. The top 5 games of all time. It's just like our opinion, man.
Yeah. I don't like calling them the top 5 games of all time because it's like...
So
they're my top 5 games, which is very subjective, and I just...
Oh my, yes.
A lot goes into choosing a top 5 game. It doesn't mean it's the best game. It means it's the best game for me at that moment in time. And
that's a good distinction.
Yes.
Why don't we talk about that for a second? So let's talk about what influenced us in choosing these games. Because again, we're very different in what we... Like, we're both gamers, we both love games, but we have varying opinions, as most people do. So for you, like what went into your decision-making progress for your...
For these, they were a game that just completely grabbed me and enveloped me. You know what I mean? A lot of games I will say, that's a good game. Like Little Nightmares we were just talking about. It's a good game, but it's not like grabbing me. It's not like when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I want to do is play it. Like I'm looking up guides when I'm away from the game. Like I'm just jonesing for this experience again. That is what was the biggest factor for that. And then also sometimes a game comes in a certain time in your life when you're ready to play that kind of game. Like maybe I wouldn't want to be playing that game as much now, but it's kind of that. And then I have memories of it. Like I actually have distinct memories, like you would have a memory of a real experience, like in those kind of things. Yeah. So those are my 3 kind of criteria.
I think for me, I look at it from my list and I go, is this game, and you kind of touched on it, but is this game still very playable now? Because we're going back for this, what we're talking about here, one is platform-wide, which makes it really tough, by the way. And we're going back, childhood and up. So for me, it's, do these games hold up? If you play these games now, are they good? Are they still fun? For me, that's important.
If you could snapshot that game at that time and bring it forward, yes.
See, for me, I'm being more rigid. Like, I really want... because for me it makes me narrow it down. Because I think all the games on here I have played in the last 3 or 4 years ish for me. So that was for me was a standard. The other one I feel like just how much it influenced my life, and I know that sounds like a grandiose. I don't know how to say that word. It's a big statement. Just get rid of the other one.
It's very grand.
Yeah, my awesome English degree coming in spades. So yeah, for me, it's like how did it mold me as a gamer? Which again is very pretentious. I get it, but it made that huge impact. You know what I mean? It punched me right in the gut, and with all the good feels, and I played the crap out of it. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of what I'm looking at. And I changed this list like daily.
I just changed it like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So I wanted to get some variety, but at the same time, it's if it's all on one platform, fuck it. Then that's what games.
There's one where we almost had the same, and I actually changed it, just tweaked it a little bit.
Okay. So that said, that was our criteria. Mine is in a very numbered format, so I'm going to start with my fifth. But Breeze is more.
Nope, I actually numbered it.
I
was railing against the numbered system because it's like going to the Oscars and just jamming all the categories together. Like some of these games are chosen for certain reasons or whatever, but I did. I numbered it, got my head in the game, so I am ready to start with number 5.
Okay. Well, why don't you start with your number 5?
My number 5 is Super Mario World.
Yeah, that would have been one of mine too.
Yeah, there's no other game that I can see like being played somewhere or just hear the sounds from it that like brings back my childhood more than this game. Like I think I've beat this game 5 or 6 times, maybe even more. Where I've just I remember all the little things, and it's not a particularly hard Mario at all. Like Mario's are never really that hard, but this one was not hard. But I loved the entire map. Like, I loved the whole thing. I like the little secret Star Road. I love everything about
Star Road.
I even love when you get the little cape thing and you can cheese and, do the... See, the sounds of that game are just like... they make me happy.
Yeah, man. That game probably consumed like 35% of my life.
Yeah, and it's also the first game that I played, and most people played, obviously, on the SNES, where I just was suddenly, it was like such a jump from everything else that you've been playing before that I was like, holy crap, this looks so great. It's also shiny and bubbly. And
came with the system, too.
Yeah, no. So when my parents gave me that game, they left on the Super Nintendo all night with that playing, and so like I peeked out in the middle of the night and I saw it playing on the screen. I was so happy.
Oh man, it really is, and I played that a few years ago actually. I think we both played it a little bit.
Yeah, because it was on the Wii Store, whatever you call that,
virtual console. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, really holds up. It is tons of fun. It's a long game.
It is a long game. I mean, because you go and all the way around and to the mud chocolate place and under the water, and
it really is.
It's island.
Oh yeah,
the jungle. I just remember every moment of that game.
It really is. Like I struggled. It was like it went up and down my list. I will say it didn't make mine. I wanted it on there so bad, but there was a few others we'll talk about. But it should be on there because it's so good. And then that was one of the first games I can remember where like if you beat every single stage the right way, you get like a little, not New Game Plus, but you get like a little star, like star 96, if I remember correctly. And that was one of those things when I was a kid, it was bragging rights. Like, did you get like star 96? Like, oh man, I did do that one stage the right way. Oh man, such a good game. And I would assert the best Mario out of all the Marios.
I also like Super Mario Galaxy a lot.
See, I haven't played that one, and I've heard it's good.
I did like it a lot, but I haven't played it again just because I don't have a regular...
That's right, because it only comes on like the
Wii. But I wonder if it's on the Virtual Console, because I would actually like to play that again with new eyes. You know what I mean?
I'd just like to play it, period.
But I remember playing that with my kids, and we just had so much fun, like just passing the controller back and forth, and they do a level, I do a level, and so that has that special thing. But Super Mario World, I played the most. It's my favorite Mario.
And it's challenging. Like it's very similar to there's what was it, New Super Mario World of the Wii one. There was like
the Wii U one that we had. Yeah, that was fun.
So it's kind of like that, but 2-dimensional, obviously. But no, it's man, it's good. And the farther you get in that game, it does get challenging. Like there are harder stages, but there was also at that point the difference between like the Super Nintendo and the regular Nintendo was like just like, oh my god, it's amazing, like the leaping graphics and what it could do. Yeah. So it was, I agree with you. See, even now I want to change my list. I won't. It's there. We'll keep it. But Super Mario
that's
World.
my number 5.
My number 5 is Landstalker. This little gem right here. Very niche game. Not many people know about it, I'm guessing.
I know crap all about this game except for that it's in front of me and it has some sort of...
Yeah, ignore the art on the front. It's a little weird. He looks like an Eldar Harlequin or something.
He looks like somebody was trying to make Link, but then they like pumped him up on juice and...
Well, that's kind of what it is. So this really was the Genesis, whatever the plural of Genesis, Genocide, the Sega Genesis. This is their version of Link. Mm-hmm. Only had one game, no sequels that I know of. It's kind of like, it's a top-down perspective, but they called it a three-quarter perspective. So it's really about platforming and jumping just right. But man...
Isometric?
Isometric? Yeah, I could say that. Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It's action RPG. But what this game does, it does to perfection. It's adventure. It's what I kind of wanted Link to be in certain regards. It was a Genesis game, so we could get away with more. It could be a little more violent and a little more like serious stuff. There's like, occultists. There's just things at that point that Nintendo wasn't willing to do.
Or probably would ever do, because Nintendo's
weird. It's just, again, it touches on more, like there's graveyards with crosses. God forbid. That was an old Super Nintendo game. They forbid that stuff. So, it's a long game, and the first time I played through it, it was one of those games we're talking about. Like, I just couldn't stop playing it. I would get up in the morning, I'd play it. I just wanted to, when I was at school, I'd think about playing it. I actually called the Sega hotline back in the day and racked up a $30 phone bill because I wanted to get all the secrets and stuff. Didn't think my parents would notice. They sure did. So, and I played this again a few years ago, and it's just as fun as it ever was. If you enjoy adventure games, again in the vein of A Link to the Past, but more of isometric, like you're saying, so there's a lot of spatial awareness, a lot of jumping up and down. Man, it's so good. The music is fantastic. The way the game changes as you go along, because you will come back to certain areas, and things will change depending on what you've done. Just a very smart, it's so good. So I would recommend this because the Genesis was kind of a hit or miss platform.
I didn't have a Sega. I had a Game Gear. And that was my only Sega console at all.
Well, that was actually pretty good because unlike this thing, it was in color. So, and it had a backlit screen.
And it drained your battery in 5 seconds.
Yeah, well, before they could recharge things. So, yeah, Landstalker. I struggle to kind of say it's unique, but what it did perfectly. They had a goal. They wanted to make a great adventure game that was comparable to Zelda, and I would say this is superior to some Zelda games, not all of them. A Link to the Past is better than this. But if you had a Genesis, or if you still do, play this game. It's awesome. So yeah, that is my number 5. So we're going to move on to number 4.
So my number 4 actually was one of the harder ones for me to narrow in. Mine is Skyrim. I wanted an RPG kind of thing here where it's like this deep thing that pulled me in, and I went back and forth. I really liked Dragon Age Origins, but I went with Skyrim because it completely consumed a month and a half of my life. I would put I'd be playing it and then run out and stir the dinner and then run back in and play for 2 seconds and stir more of the dinner. To that level of just absolutely consumed. And I'm not sure why that game more than anything. I liked how everything, I could explore and just do the quest or whatever.
Yeah, that's another one of those games where what it set out to do, it did perfectly.
It did.
It also improved upon everything from its predecessor, which is rare sometimes, as we saw with Dawn of War 3. So Skyrim, right, Bethesda's kind of magnum opus, takes place in the same universe. It's Elder Scrolls 5? Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, good. Almost got myself into trouble there. And it might shock you to know that it's not on my list.
I kind of know what's on your list.
Yeah.
I peeked. Maybe, unless you've changed it.
Probably not.
I don't know. It just was so perfect. I really loved my character in this game. I had made her own person. I don't know. And I stuck by, she had this code, and I was this whole thing.
Yep.
I love that game so much. And I like just wandering out and finding a dungeon and just going through it. And I felt like the ability for the entire world to kind of scale to you to some extent. Some places you go into, I'm not yet. But most of the time you could just wander wherever you wanted and, fight through stuff.
So this was a game that released when I was at PC Gamer, and this was my first cover story. I have a lot of intimate knowledge. I was the first person to play it on PC ever. Go me. Yeah, no big deal. But no, it was like this was a game that's very personal. And I don't know why I didn't include it on my list. I'm an idiot. So disregard everything because I'm stupid. But no, like this game, when I was there, I made the claim that this was one of the first games I had played, like you're saying, where you could actually role play, like really role play the character that you have into whatever you kind of wanted. You could kind of do anything. And they fought me a little in that, and they should have, the staff, because it's a bold claim, but I held by it. It's like, no, this is a game where if you just want to run off and do whatever the fuck you want to, you can do it. And that was, in 2011, 2010, that was kind of rare.
It was the first, like, that sandbox game where it worked for me in a way. Like, sometimes they're just too ambiguous, and I don't know where to go, and I'm just like, well, this is stupid. Like, I wanted to kind of hold my hand a little bit into the beginning, and then to kind of open up the world and be like, okay, now you understand the tools. Actually, the new Zelda kind of does.
I was going to say, but I think this game did what Zelda did way before its time.
Yeah, so it's that kind of hold your hand, get you into the world, get you into your character, and then kind of let you loose. I don't even think I ever beat the whole dragon thing.
I never did. I never beat the game.
I got so like into being in like the Thieves Guild or what. I remember getting my armor for that.
Yeah.
What's the name? Nightingale armor. I was just
I think you're right.
It wasn't the best armor, but it was like so awesome on my character, and it fit her so well that I like didn't want to ever take it off. Like, I loved that game, and it consumed me more than many other games have.
I feel like if this was a best PC game list, we're doing it probably number 2 for me. It's right behind Quake.
So this is another game where my computer actually wasn't working very well in the beginning, and it was one of the few games of this type where I played it on the Xbox.
Yeah.
So I played it with a controller, which I always struggle with first-person kind of shootery games on a controller. Like, I powered through that. I love this game so much, I was just like, I don't even care. I'll play it on the stupid Xbox because my computer is down, and I did. What I was always sad about is that then my character was on the Xbox.
Yeah, and you can't transfer them back and forth.
I couldn't get her off there. And
she's still there somewhere.
She's in my heart. She's with me always. But I did play it again later on the PC and had just as much fun. Not as cool a character the second time, but.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is something I could talk about for hours and hours, and I feel like it's worth it because this game is so damn good. For me, what really made it even better than everything else was Bethesda was just like, mod the hell out of it. We don't care. Do whatever you want to it. And day one, there was a huge modding community for it. So I think the last time I checked, I have almost a terabyte of mods, and it's not even an exaggeration. And it was scary because sometimes it broke the game, but they just gave you that freedom. They didn't care.
Yeah, we talked about that before. So I didn't, because again, I was playing on the Xbox to start with. I didn't, but then when I came back and played it the second time on my PC, there was that access to mods, which also made it fresh again.
Yeah.
And so I felt a little more comfortable that time, not destroying my character. And I did play around with them just a little bit, not to terabyte level playing around with them, but tweaking the UI in the ways that I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And they supported it for a long time. Like, Bethesda was really kind of in it. Now, there was the infamous, like, horse armor. That was back when DLC was kind of, they're like, yeah, pay $5, get some shiny horse armor. And people were, like, freaking out. Like, why would I spend that much? And, if people now could go back and see us then.
You sweet summer child.
Yeah. I would say I would hazard a guess of 500 hours in that game. Maybe a little bit more, technically. And I didn't get through half of the main story.
I know, I kind of started that main quest line, and I was like, and then I was scared about finishing the game earlier than I wanted, then I wandered off, and then I was just captivated by other stuff. And so I don't think I actually finished the Shout Dragon quest thing.
Yeah.
Where you'll find the words on the wall or whatever.
And that was one of those games, too, where people are like, wow, can they really implement this feature where they have these giant fucking all-powerful dragons, and you fight them? And they did it, and they did it well. Like, beating your first dragon was one of the most memorable experiences I think I have as a gamer. It was, like, so rewarding, and you felt so powerful, and you get your shout, the Fus Ro Da. Although, actually, it was just Fus Ro, I think was the first one. Maybe just Fus.
Yeah, I don't know. I was too busy stealing everything I get my hands on. I don't give a shit about dragons. I got to the point where my house had so much, because upstairs I would steal every book I came across, and I'd throw them in a pile that my house had trouble loading.
Mine did too, actually, because it was so full of shit.
And then I'd place everything. I almost totally forgot about how I'd place everything in my house.
Yes.
Like, player housing is one of those things that just, it can draw me into a game.
Oh my
completely.
God, yes. They had a whole expansion in Skyrim that was based off building your own house.
I really wasn't playing the game then. I wish that.
But that's why we're saying it's so good, because you could just do that if you wanted to.
I didn't need that expansion. I just spent hours carefully placing like the skull next to the chalice, next to the potato, whatever.
So nothing was worse, too, if you walked in and bumped into a table or something by accident.
Or you just walked in and all the cabbages are all on the ground. I'm like, those were on plates. I put those perfectly on plates.
Oh, man. Yeah, I probably spent literal hours just inside my house. Like you were saying, like fine-tuning everything. And I actually, when I built my house, I had a process of moving everything back and forth. I would get my like most powerful companion, just load them up with shit and mule them, because I wanted everything to move to it was like a real-life move. Mm-hmm. It was so like stressful, but awesome.
And that was the first game where like my companion also became a character. Like you got Sven, I think it was, early on, and he was like such a fucking idiot and always in the way, and I was yelling at him. But then we got into a battle on a bridge, and I didn't realize he died.
Yeah.
And then I saved, and I did a bunch of other crap, and I'm like, where the crap is Sven? Is he going to show up? And so I went, and I found his body on the side of the river, and I was very upset.
Yeah, because if you quick saved it or something like this.
I realized that I would have had to, like, I just traveled all the way across the map, and there he was on the side of the river dead, and I was, so sad.
So in my game, speaking of that, I played a very amoral type of free blade. Mm-hmm. And like you, I really tried to role play it, and I had one of my companions. I went to fight a dragon, and that bitch didn't do shit, and she shot me with an arrow. And afterwards, I was like, "What would my character do?" And I was like, "I would get rid of this liability." So I literally led her out to an edge, and we were looking over, and in my mind, I was like, "Isn't this a nice vista?" And I got behind her, and I fusrodad her off the cliff to her death.
And now I can picture that. Your little body just like ragdolls out over the edge. Oh, that's terrible. I was not that mean of a person. I wasn't a paladin, but I wasn't that mean. That's rough.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it in real life, but I was like, I'm going to roleplay this fucking character. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be in my character's head, and I'm going to do what I think this character would do. And yeah, I ended that. And it was her. I don't remember what her name was, but like you get her in a fairly early on.
I think it starts with L. Lariel. Lariel.
I murdered her.
Comes in the house. Okay. Wow.
So, God, I feel like we should just do like a whole discussion on Skyrim now that I'm thinking about it.
All right, you better be.
Anyway, okay, here we go. Number 4 for me, also a PC game, also a role-playing game. This one is called Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura.
So Chris's list is all games I've never even heard of.
But man, this game was made by Troika. It was a bunch of leftover staffers from Black Isle who made Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. And I would argue this game is better than both those games, because Fallout 1 and 2 are right up there. They make my top 10. This game made an amazing concept. They took magic and they took technology and put it together. And it works. And it works so well. So it is a Diablo style, as far as if you're wondering how it looks. Mm-hmm. Top-down perspective. In this game, you have the option of turn-based, or you can go real-time, and sometimes advantageous to do both. And you can switch them in the middle of battle, which is really cool. This is a game just like Skyrim where, I mean, it's more story-driven, and you get characters and they have certain things. But you really can also, in this game, kind of do what you want. If you want to be a kill-crazy bastard and murder a whole town, have at it. You can murder the whole town, and it will make the game weird, but you can do it. And the whole idea of this game is there's an industrial revolution going on, and knights are dying out. So you have all this medieval stuff, but the real world is coming. And the idea is the technology cancels magic, and magic cancels technology. And there's this constant struggle between the whole world. They don't know what's going to happen. They have trains, but if you put a mage in front of the train blows up. So you have to put the mages in the caboose, which creates class struggle and racism. And it's just this great underlying motif of constant dread. And when you're building a party, do you want the really awesome technological guy? Because sometimes you try and cast spells, they won't work, and vice versa. So just a really cool idea I've never seen replicated. I've never seen another game try and combine those two things and make them antagonistic towards each other. Because like in World of Warcraft, you have your gnomes or whoever, and you have like technology, like dwarves kind of have like their...
The gnomes are the engineers.
Yeah. But I don't think it does that necessarily, where it's like one just really, like you can't have them together.
No.
And I love that. So it's very steampunk. There's zeppelins, there's flying machines, but it's like 1700s, 1800s. So in the very beginning, you have a knight who's kind of left over, and you see another knight coming and just fucking blows him away with a pistol. It's great. So that whole thing, it's really long. I probably played this game a dozen times from start to finish, and I never beat it the same way twice. Yeah, one of my playthroughs, I was completely pacifist. I'd never attacked a single person.
Really?
Yeah, I recruited people to attack for me. I was like a capitalistic gnome because again, this game is like the advent of capitalism. So I played a very aristocratic, kind of like a William Randolph Hearst type of character, and I had like 7 followers of ogres, and I had them do all my dirty work. And then, like you were saying, you could play a thief. Arcanum really is a game no one has heard about. It's one of the best games ever made.
I know about it because you've laid it out here before, but
Yep. I would argue as good as Skyrim. It was buggy as shit when it first came out because it was like 2001, so you really couldn't, there wasn't high-speed internet, so it had its issues. And I think that was probably a sticking factor for a lot of people. But there's been so much community support for this game now. It's completely fixed. You can download community-made patches to fix a lot of the bugs it had. Seriously, story, freedom, just the uniqueness of it, amazing. That's my number 4.
Nice.
Okay, so now we're getting up there. The top 3. The big trio. The trilogy. What's your number 3?
Mine is Zelda Wind Waker.
So I haven't played this game, so this would be interesting. I want to hear about it.
So I had A Link to the Past on there.
Might be on mine.
It's always been that struggle for me, A Link to the Past versus Wind Waker. For me, it was a lot of style. It had some more freedom because you're out on a boat and you're out in the open world. But really, the style, and it was one of those games where I wanted to 100% everything. Like, I remember going through the village and very meticulously doing all these different quests and like figuring out who people were and like going and tracking down little weird islands and and then as soon as I finished it, I remember I completed it and it did all the little fiddly stuff and everything, and then I wanted to just play it again. Like, I absolutely just loved this game for some reason. And I think I beat it like within the next 3 months. I had beaten it again. Like, I usually will play games again or whatever, but it's a few years out. This is like immediately I went back into it, played it again.
I feel like less of a gamer for not having played this game. Like, I really do. Like, everyone, even my buddies back in San Francisco when I was there, like Wes was like, dude, you haven't played Wind Waker? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? And honestly, from like what you're saying, what other people are saying, I need to play this game.
Though I think Ocarina of Time is the one that most people, we had this discussion a few weeks ago for what's the best Zelda game. I think there has to be a Zelda game on my list somewhere.
Absolutely. I agree.
I'm not finished or far enough into the Breath of the Wild to put that on there. That's an interesting game.
It's also like the trendy pick too. It's the most recent. You know, like, will it stand the test of time?
Yeah,
this one sounds like it has.
I can't put I can't put a game from the last 2 years onto my list because it really does need to stand that test of time. So Wind Waker for me is my Zelda pick, though A Link to the Past is like just like
it's
literally
right
it's like touching.
If you had to take the photo like when you're across the finish line, it's like just like this one has like its belly out front or something.
It's photo finish.
Yeah.
You know,
What did this? You may have said, I'm sorry if I just forgot, but what did this first come out on?
GameCube.
GameCube. Okay, I was thinking it was.
So I dealt with that retarded controller and I powered through and I played the stupid game on it. But wow, yeah.
Oh shit! You know, speaking of GameCube, I should have put Metroid Prime. Damn it!
Too late.
For another list. I know it's too late. Nope, it's locked in. I can't do it. But no, this is, again, I love Zelda games too. I just never had a GameCube when it first came out. I didn't.
Really?
No, my Nintendo stuff stopped at Super Nintendo.
Buying a GameCube and being like, wow, this is the dumbest friggin' console I've ever had. It's got the handle on it. I never took that.
We actually
anywhere.
have it somewhere, but
we do have a GameCube, and the controller is so fucking. I'm like, what were they thinking with this controller? But there were some good games. Like Pikmin, I played on that. I loved Pikmin. Zelda. There's another game. I think I played like a Resident Evil game.
There was Resident Evil. It was Remake or Zero. Or it was basically they did like the same first Resident Evil, made it in every way better.
Yeah, and so I played a Resident Evil game. The most that I ever played, I think, was on that. But yeah, there's several games on the GameCube that I actually really liked.
It's in spite of itself.
In spite of its strange design.
So I played because I really had no experience with the GameCube other than like seeing it like in a Best Buy and trying the demos.
That is stupid little discs.
Yeah, they're like tiny. Like
why?
I don't know. Nintendo sometimes is just what are you doing? It's like seriously like a drunk retard made the controller. I know that I'm sorry, it's politically incorrect, but whatever. It's just like the controller is awful. Like it's not comfortable. There's like a bazillion buttons that don't
weird
really
shapes.
It's
like somebody threw up Lucky Charms onto the controller.
Yeah, it's terrible. It looks like a Fisher-Price controller. It looks like something a child would play with. Maybe that's what they were going for. But then they have games that are violent on there. And it's like,
That's also the one they brought back. Oh, jeez, what is that game? I played it so much. GoldenEye?
yes, GoldenEye. That's
Yes.
right, GoldenEye. Yeah, that was for that too.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, no, it was an oddly good platform. Nintendo is weird that way.
I know. So that is my Zelda pick. What is your number 3?
Oh, I don't know. A game that has to do with Zelda, A Link to the Past is mine.
Which is why it didn't make it on mine.
Yeah, but I feel like for the Super Nintendo, possibly the best game for the Super Nintendo, arguably, again.
Still, that rainy night brings, like the
Yeah.
opening rainy night is still like this.
One of
like,
the most, memorable
what to-
things.
It is, yeah, memorable for sure.
Like, in starting that game, I like just starting the game sometimes and playing through that part. Just because you can hear, like, the pitter-patter of the rain, and you get out there, and it's like thunder and lightning, you don't even have a weapon yet. I remember seeing this game in a Nintendo Power, and I was like, I'm going to beg the shit out of my parents to get a Super Nintendo just for this game. Mm-hmm. And if I had only ever played that game in that system, worth it. Like, again, going from the difference between, like, this game, Zelda 2, to that game was astronomical.
I don't
Yeah.
even consider that a Zelda game. I'm sorry.
It's like the bastard stepchild Link. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, A Link to the Past, it took this game, the original Legend of Zelda, in all its glory, and made it every way better. So everything, I think, for the most part, every Zelda game after Link to the Past owes whatever it's doing to that game to a certain degree. Maybe not the newest one because that's more like Skyrim, like we were talking about. But the whole idea of the items they had and the lore and just the exploration. Again, I don't know because I didn't.
Forest that you get lost in.
The
is-
dark, yeah.
Yeah, like still a very memorable experience. That was when I discovered the chicken thing where you're throwing the chickens.
Yes. And there were a lot of little like Easter eggs and secrets like that in this game. And this is a game where you could beat it and not find half the stuff. Like there was so much stuff that you could go back and replay and discover.
Like once you could pick up rocks, you could go back and do so
Yep.
much other stuff. Like I like that about that game a lot.
This was one of those games where I thought I had beat it and then, oh no, there's still a whole other game. Like you get through it and there's like 4 little castles and then that actually unlocks the dark world where you can use the mirror and it's like, and,
Yes, that's right.
oh, it's so good. And the hook shot, one of my favorite things ever. And you can discover things like if you use the hook shot, it acts like the boomerang, so you can get like rupees from way across the way. So, oh my God, A Link to the Past, and again, a very playable game to this day. If you have never played this game, you can get into it and play it, and you'll love it.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. God, and then at the very, very end, like where you kind of go into the pyramid and you fight, everything about this game. It's one of those games where I'd almost give it 100%. If you're going like from a 0 to 100% scale, it is damn near perfect.
Yeah, and it's still like the art style holds up today. Like sometimes I look at old games and I'm like, yeah, I remember why I liked it, but I don't like it now.
Yeah.
Whereas the art style holds up, and it's almost like that Owlboy kind of.
Yes, I was just thinking
like
about that.
a modern take on old graphics. Like it was done that well.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think again, there's so many games I've tried to copy A Link to the Past. So many games are inspired by it. Like I said, even Landstalker, because similar time frame. So, but no, I really think Link to the Past did it, and it did it the best. In my opinion, I haven't played these other games, so I need to hazard that up front. But my favorite Zelda game of all time, which is why for me it's number 3. And again, played so much of this game when I was a kid, and recently that it has to be on here. So, number 2.
Number 2 is Portal. Portal 1 for me.
Yeah, I forgot about Portal. Shit. Okay.
So this was a game that I wasn't really paying attention to. I bought the orange box for the TF2 more than anything.
Fuck TF2. God damn, I'm sorry. Keep going. Sorry.
Okay, shush. I'm talking. I bought it for the other games in it, and then I was like, hey, what's this Portal game? And it just, like, no other game has, it's almost number 1, but there's, once I get into my number 1, I'll discuss why it's not number 1. But it's like my idea of a perfect single-player game. It's a tad too short, but not too long. You know what I mean? It was this game that I could completely, play, digest. It surprised me. I think
Oh my God, yes. Everybody.
It blended what I loved the most out of any kind of game, which is a puzzle game, with this story that was suddenly like, I gave a shit. It was such a surprise when you go from that testing area to, behind the scenes kind of thing. The humor, obviously, is the hugest thing.
The humor is up there.
It had just such a perfect tone throughout the game that is just I've never seen another game create that kind of like fun, I don't know, story without having really a story either. You know what I mean?
You were a silent protagonist.
Yeah, you were nobody, but and then it was like the gameplay of it also was very surprising. I don't think it's one of those games like it almost is similar to VR where once you start thinking with portals, your brain kind of does this weird thing where once you leave the game, you're kind of like still thinking with portals, with you. Which is the same kind of thing with VR where you're kind of thinking that way, and it changed the way I was thinking.
Yep.
So I do like Portal 2 as well, especially the co-op mode. But Portal 1 was my idea of a perfect game.
Yeah, GLaDOS, right?
Yes.
I forgot who the voice actress was who did her, but if we're talking about like the best voice acting ever, it's got to be up there.
Just
in the writing. Kim Swift, amazing, kind of launched her career. And again, quick, like 6-hour game basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I almost played straight through. I didn't. I stopped, and then it was like a 2-day thing.
And this was part of the orange box, so this wasn't even like the marquee title. It was kind of just it was part of this bundle that with TF2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and people were like, oh, Portal, cool, give that a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and I knew nothing about it. It's kind of like when you go to a movie like blind. When you know nothing about it, you almost enjoy that movie more. I almost enjoyed. I think that's why I enjoyed Portal 1. Is I went into it blind, having no idea. When you go into Portal 2, you know what to expect, and you're kind of asking it to hit that bar, and it does a really good job. But it's still Portal 1 was just this.
Do you remember like creating that infinite like loop, and then it would freak you out the first time you did that because you start going faster and faster and faster.
Like, oh my god, I can't get out. I made a huge mistake. I'm starting to feel sick.
God, but what a great game. Yeah, and you're talking about that part too, where you're on like a conveyor belt, and then you think you're gonna like dive, and you get off, and you go behind the scenes. And
actually, that was the part where you go behind the scenes is the part where I actually felt like, because I felt like it was a kind of an easy game, but that was the part where I actually got stuck. It like blew my mind so much that I was gonna go behind the scenes, that this was gonna take that turn that my brain's like, I can't go over there.
Yeah, man, Portal. How did I forget about Portal? Jeez, okay, that's frustrating. I'm glad you did. Yeah, Portal 2, no, it's not. Portal 2 is great. No, my number 2 is not my number 1, which might surprise some people if you know me. It's Quake. Quake for the PC. Let's just go ahead and...
Our weekly tattoo showing.
Bam, right there, that guy. Quake 1. For so many reasons, I could never possibly fit it into the amount of time required. Let me boil it down for you. For one, Quake is still the best first-person shooter ever made. No argument. I will argue forever if you do. I think it is phenomenal. It also launched a lot of games that we hold dear to our hearts now, including Team Fortress. Mm-hmm. A lot of other games too. I mean, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there are other people's games that owe everything to Quake 1. It is the level design has never been surpassed. It's because back then they did have multiplayer levels, but the single player levels were also deathmatch levels, and they worked flawlessly for both. If you think that's easy to create a level, play some of these modern shooters, which are pure crap in that regard. Like it's to kind of get that blend is really tough. Introduced quad damage. It was one of the very first FPSs to use actual like 3D modeled, as opposed to just like the flat kind of 2D sprites that like Doom and Duke Nukem used. It created rocket jumping. Again, for talking about things that games you just automatically expect them to be in there. It was so cool. And just the whole idea of not really much of a story, but a rich background. It actually used 9-inch nails as ammo, but it didn't feel gimmicky or weird. It just felt like it fit. You had like a super nail gun that launched that stuff. The soundtrack was by Trent Reznor, and it's amazing. There's a bunch of different acts you can go through. It basically took Doom, more or less, because it was an id game. It took Doom and made it a better game, again, in my opinion. I played so much of Quake 1. Like, I mean, the tattoo is on there for numerous reasons for me, but it was just that game defined my life as a gamer. Like, everything else to me, just Quake's in the middle, everything else rotates around it. Quake is my constant. Like, remember Inception, the movie? If you had your little token or whatever, Quake is my token. It's so good for modding, for just fun. Overall, and I know it sounds like it should be my number 1, and it's close. If it was PC, it'd probably be up there. But Quake 1, for me, first-person shooting at its finest. You can play it today. There are still servers that host multiplayer because it's that good that people still want to play it. launched careers like Fatality. If he's even still around, I don't even know anymore. Yeah, whatever. But back then he was like a big deal, and it was Quake. So, yeah, I think for those reasons alone, for me, oof, so good, so good.
It's too fast for me.
Yeah, that was the other
terrible.
thing. It was yeah.
It's like so like, especially I saw you playing the other Quake thing, and it's just it's such a fast shooter. I'm like terrible. I'm like
Yeah, and honestly, Quake 1 really was one where it's like you had to use your mouse, and before that you were just, it was very like rigid and two-dimensional. Like, you know, they built the levels, but in Quake it was about verticality, and you had to aim and learn how to use your mouse. Quake was responsible in part for creating my crazy control scheme that I still hold to this day. So yeah, I would say, again, if we're going by most influential, it still holds up. Quake is there. But you have our top 4 for both of us. What is the number 1 game for you?
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty legit answer.
It's a legit answer, and for the most part, I'm talking about vanilla World of Warcraft. I definitely had I played throughout. I actually played a little bit of Legion recently, but I've never gone back to it the same way that I played vanilla. If I could, one game in the world that I could erase my memory of and do it again, it would be vanilla World of Warcraft. There is nothing that was just like so big to me. It felt so big, so huge. There was so much. Never dived into wikis as much as I did when I was like first playing. It was so awesome. And that was back when everybody was kind of figuring things out, and it was like the server politics itself were very interesting, and server drama. I played on Illidan, which was rife with drama. We had like the funeral bombing. It just
that was that server?
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
We had like Serenity Now doing that bombing. We had a sex tape. I mean, there was just so many other layers of things that came out of it. And not only that, but I just made good friends in that game. Like, that lasted for a while.
Yeah.
So while Portal is a self-contained kind of thing, and it almost makes number 1, World of Warcraft was just such a different kind of thing for a game. It wasn't just the game itself, it was the platform and what it allowed people to do. It was the first time, like, I'd played other MMOs before this, but this was the one that was like turned on some obsession switch. Like, I just
for you
can't.
and
Obviously, you know, tons of people are addicted to that kind of game.
With good cause, yeah.
I still don't go through Christmas without thinking of my presents that I would open every year in World of Warcraft. Like, that's this thing.
Yeah.
It's like I have such specific memories of certain, you know, places in that game, and, you know, I could go on and on about why. And
you played it recently too, like not too long.
I did. So I played Legion this fall for a little bit. I can never really get back into raiding. Like, I did 40-man raiding in vanilla World of Warcraft.
40 people. God,
40 people, and there was something about like getting together 40 people, and all that was back when potions were far better than gear, and they were figuring that stuff out, and all the math that went into figuring out how to min-max your character was another thing that added to it that I loved so much. But yeah, you'd have to get potions and all your buffs and everything to go raid, and it was 40 people, and you had to do your little dances and know the fight. And I think we worked on Twin Imps for like a month straight before we beat that. Kind of killed their guild. Like, all that drama that was around getting together a group of 40 people. And I know there's reasons why they've changed that, and it's for the better, but
I can't imagine project managing 40 people. Like, if you're I don't know what they call them, a guild master or whatever.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, you're talking about influence, like South Park, Leroy Jenkins, like so many things have come from World of Warcraft. And I remember back when it first came out, there were so many hilarious articles about like Warcraft online. I don't know, Blizzard. I don't know if this is going to work. Like, well, we give you props for trying it, but like, they did okay with it.
And I'm a Blizzard fangirl as it is. I love, like, Diablo and StarCraft. They almost made these lists here because I love those games as it is. Overwatch, I love that. But World of Warcraft is a game that kind of changed the way I gamed for a long time.
Yeah.
And I would dive away from the expansions, but even some of the expansions I really enjoyed for a little bit.
Well, it's one of those when did it come out? 2005, something like that. So you figure
2004.
I think this would be a fun thing to do at some point. Someone's probably done it, to see how many MMORPGs or MMOs in general have come and gone during that time frame.
And I tried them even after World of Warcraft. I tried like so many of the different MMOs, and they never quite had that thing that Well, it's like chasing your first high. It really is. Like, none of them, not even World of Warcraft itself, has that same experience that I had during vanilla. Just that.
Yeah.
I can't believe there's so much and so many places I can go and so much gear and farming and crafting and raiding, battlegrounds, PvP. I didn't think I was a PvP player until this. I loved open world PvP, loved battlegrounds.
So, going from World of Warcraft with a very worthy spot of number 1 comes my favorite game of all time. Number 1 spot, also a role-playing game, but goes back to the Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo, and that's called something else now because it was like different in Japan. They released more of them, Final Fantasy 5 or 6. Anyway, for me, it's Final Fantasy III. So this game stuck with me for a long, long time. We maxed out the playing hours, so there's 3 spots you can pick to choose like a different playthrough. And on our console, between me and my brother, we have 99 hours in each one that was completely maxed out. So after that point, who knows how many hours we put into it. But that game got me through a tough period in my life in high school, through breakups, through tough family stuff. And it's even getting me through this little area here where I put these games back up. So it was so powerful, it actually like blew up these games as we're talking about it. So basically, before this game came out, role-playing games were, you had characters, and you'd find little characters, and you'd lose the characters, and it was very scripted to a certain degree. This game changed that in the sense that you got characters, but then you could kind of mix and match them all you wanted to. You could create different groups of characters at once. So you're going through the game, you'd have like 3 different groups of characters. You could play them all as much as you want to, you could ignore them. It really was, it tried to be open world from what it could do in the Super Nintendo. It was so influential, I feel like a lot of games today, you can trace your lineage back to what they were trying to do back then. And it did it so well, it's so much fun, even to this day. I tried to play through it about a year or 2 ago, because 2 years ago, and I tried playing it in the Super Nintendo with the original cartridge, and the battery is bad on the console because it's so old, on the cartridge rather, and I lost half of my saves, so I stopped playing because it was heartbreaking. But Final Fantasy III, we talked about Super Mario World being maybe one of the best games for Super Nintendo. I feel like this is the best game, just for anything ever. I lost sleep over it. I couldn't stop playing it. My brother played it. We'd go on and off. It just enveloped our lives for most of our childhood, honestly. And for me, going into adulthood, it was everything I ever wanted from a game at that point. Just to the point of being like, there's nothing bad I can say about it. I have no critiques. I have nothing bad to say about that game, and that's so rare back then or these days. And it connected, like, for me and my brother, it connected us, right? We were talking about like that sort of like real life thing that comes out of it. So for World of Warcraft, you have friends you met. For us, it was a bonding experience. Like, we have these distinct memories, like the floating continent, which is halfway through the game. And again, this was something games didn't do back then. So you get to the floating continent, and it destroys the world. It's not like a happy thing. And even when you beat the game, it's not a happy ending.
Spoilers. Yeah,
I know, spoilers, right? It goes from being a very medieval technological game, like it takes place in medieval times, then there's basically the equivalent of an apocalyptic event that destroys the world. And then you just keep playing. It was so shocking to see that. It was like, holy shit, they're not like, this isn't like this is not like a happy game that's trying to pander to you. This is dark. And again, for Super Nintendo, that's saying something, because they were still very much like, no, it's got to be family friendly, but they really pushed the limits. This was Squaresoft at their best. For me personally, no other Final Fantasy game comes close. This game is perfection. So for me, if you've never played this game, oh my God, go play it. The best game.
I didn't play it.
Oh, I was like, oh no, we lost the recording. No. But no, I haven't played the Zelda games either, so I'm right there with you. But no, for me, again, could talk for hours and hours, but I will say, role-playing at its absolute finest, and even if you're not a big role-playing fan, I think it would still be fun for you. Especially now that we're in this retro surge, right, with Owlboy and other games and Hollow Knight, and things that call back to that nature. Even Darkest Dungeon. I would say Darkest Dungeon is very much so inspired, even if I didn't realize it, by Final Fantasy III. Best game ever, in my opinion. So there you have it. Those are our top 5 games. They will change immediately because I should have put TF2 as number 1. Crap. Because really, I think TF2 is probably the best ever. But I forgot about it because I'm an idiot and I'm old. Sorry.
Yeah.
So there
There's
you
so
have
many
it.
games that were just like, I could list like 10 or 15 other games that should have been, you know, are on the edges of this. A 5 list is hard, especially if
Really
you're not
is.
limiting it to like a console or a PC or something.
Yeah.
Just any old top 5 games. It's like...
There were even Game Boy games I was considering, like Tetris for the Game Boy. Like, it's stupid as that sounds. Like, I probably played that, God, I don't know how many hours I played that. Camping and just... Anyway, you can probably tell by the length of this, it's like I really had to truncate because I want to talk about Final Fantasy 3 for hours, but you know we don't want to bore you to death. But
and we actually had some news, but we're running a little long, so we'll do news next week. It's kind of got eaten up by our top 5 games.
But damn it, it's worth it because these games are amazing and need to be talked about. But going from there, thanks everybody for tuning in and sticking with us. We hope you enjoyed this. And I'm sure you have opinions of your own because this is a very...
Actually, I'd love to hear comments of your top 5
Seriously,
games or whatever. Tell us we're stupid people for including the ones we have. I don't care.
Talk about an incendiary topic, but I'd stand by my picks, damn it, for the most part, except for all the ones I want to change. So, thanks, folks. Go ahead and leave a comment again because we'd love to hear what you think. Follow us on Twitter and hit subscribe if you enjoyed this video. So, from Chris and from Bree, until next time, tune in again. Good luck.
Have fun.